Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a special guest for you. She's a professional fitness athlete in the very competitive figure division. She's a two-time IFBB pro champion, a two-time Olympian, and preparing for her third Olympia appearance in just a few days. She's also a lifestyle and competition coach, figure posing coach, and a business owner. Please welcome to the show, Carly Starling. So where do you train out of?
I live in Arizona. I train out of Pro Physiques, which is a personal training studio, but we're like a competition we're known as like a competition gym. Do you know who they are?
No, I'm unaware. I actually have never been to Arizona. How's the weather like over there now?
It's hot.
What,
I
like,
think
go ahead.
no, today it's a cooler day. It's 103.
Did you say 103?
Yes.
That's a cooler day?
Yeah.
What do you guys hit usually?
We usually hang around 110, 112.
Good Lord. Do you guys have a winter at all or no? Not really.
Say that again.
I said, do you guys have a winter at all or not really?
We kind of do. I mean, we do. It's not like it gets like down to 30 degrees. But like that's the low and it stays there for like, I mean, maybe like January, February, but for the most of the year, like when it's not like this, it's about 70, 75. So it's nice year round.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who else trains at that gym that's at your level, like at an Olympia level or elite level? Or are you primarily the only one?
No, we actually have we have it's pretty crazy. We have, Miss Figure Olympia, Sydney Gillian.
Oh, she trains out of your gym?
Yeah,
Oh,
yep.
that's awesome.
So we have like our gym is like like the coaches, right? Like the coaches who coach all of us. And then we
Uh-huh.
also have like, it's like a regular gym too for personal training studio clients. But if you
Sure.
know who Whitney Jones is, Miss Fitness Olympia,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
her,
I'm well aware. Uh-huh.
yeah, it's her gym.
Oh, cool.
So
Awesome.
we work, my husband and I work in under Pro Physiques. We work for them. Well, not for them, but we work under them using their name.
I
Um,
see.
yeah, so we have her, and then we've got a couple of other girls that are going this year. Chelsea Larson, first time Olympian. Michelle Lindsay, first time Olympian. Then we have four bikini girls. We have Brina Martinez, Jen Ronziti, um, Monica Ellis, and then Alexandria Ross, which is a new figure Olympian this year. So we got nine of
Cool.
us
Cool.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty stacked. I mean, most places don't have that many athletes going to Olympia, in one year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like I think it's my third Olympia and it's where we've had the most girls. So I think I'm looking forward to it being like just a really good time and kind of just embracing it with everybody. It's so much more fun when you have people to share it with that
Yeah,
you
awesome.
work,
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that you work with side by side, that you see training every day. It's kind of cool.
Sure, because I mean, bodybuilding really is like an individual type of sport. I would, put it in that kind of criteria. So, but then it seems like in the position that you're in, you can kind of get like the team aspect of it as well.
Yeah, you can, but it is kind of like we talk about this all the time because we want to be a team and you want to be like, yeah, I'm a part of a team, but in reality, like it's not. Like everyone's cool with each other, but like you're still, like I'm fighting for myself. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it's like a fine line where you want to be cool and you want to like be nice and like be like that team player, but at the same time we're all freaking competitive. So internally I'm
Yeah.
like I'm just focused on me. But yeah, it's nice like when we're all not competing that we can all hang out, we can all do things together and we all get
Sure.
along. So
Sure.
it's really cool because competing isn't year round for a lot of us. So
Right, right, of course. Yeah, it's so what do you think? So since Sid is in your gym and everything, what do you think about Latoria, announcing her comeback this year? Do you think that'll cause problems for her up at that, number one spot?
Um, I don't think it's gonna cause problems. Like Sid is Sid. She's freaking amazing, and she's always gonna bring her best. I think it's gonna throw a wrench in the mix for the rest of us. You know what I mean? But then again,
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it. Like I think about, Candace retired. So if anything, it's just gonna be like how it kind of was been for the last couple of years.
Wow. So wait, so Candace retired completely?
Wait, you didn't know this?
No, I didn't. I didn't know
Are
this at all.
you really? Do you really pay attention to figure?
Oh, no, I didn't know she retired. I knew she wasn't competing. Well, so I emailed her and, just kind of seeing about like getting her on the podcast and stuff. And she was like, well, I'm actually not going to be in the Olympia, but she didn't say she retired. And,
Yeah, so
yeah,
yeah, she actually announced it at last year's Olympia.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that, I mean, I'm surprised because I mean she was essentially like vying for that number one spot as well. She beat Sydney at the Arnold, so
Yeah, yeah.
I just would have thought she would have kept going. But hey, I mean, everybody's got different priorities and so
Yeah,
forth.
for sure. For sure.
So how did you get involved like with fitness and weightlifting? Were your parents involved in this, or how did you come about, getting into this kind of scene?
It honestly, like, it started. No, no, my parents, no one was into bodybuilding. My mom worked out when I was younger. Like, that was just something that she did, and I was always kind of tagged along with her when I was younger. And I just got a taste of it early. And then when I was like 15, 16, I started lifting. Like that's what I did after high school while everybody else was like playing sports. I tried to be like an athlete and I sucked. Like I never did anything. Yeah, like I for some reason just couldn't find my like thing. Like I tried baseball, I tried soccer, I like did gymnastics, I played basketball, but I just never really had what it took. And none of my family was really like competitive on my mom's side. My dad played football and like, but that's it. Like nobody really had like a crazy athletic background. And for some reason, like I don't know, it just happened and I fell in love with it. And, I started off being like one of those girls that always wanted to be skinny. So I always did a ton of cardio. And then someone one time was like, yeah, you should try lifting weights. It's better than doing like tons of cardio. And I was like, okay. So I kind of just tried it out and stuck with it and then started competing when I was 25 and just turned out to be like, I just wanted to really do it as like just to see if I could do it. And then it kind of just stuck and I was like, well, I think I can like do this. I had no intention of like turning pro or anything. I just
Mhm.
really like enjoyed it. And when I was younger, I like did it for like the wrong reasons, like the attention and kind of like why
Sure,
some
sure.
people start, when you're 25 years old, like you don't know what
Right,
you're doing.
right. Yeah, and I
So
mean it's such a attention grabbing type of sport. I mean, because you're up on the stage by by yourself. I mean, your sport literally involves the betterment and of your body. So it's kind of gravitates towards like people that would want more attention, but and especially being that young too as well.
yeah, no, totally. And then it just, evolved from there. And as the years gone on, obviously my reasoning and purpose behind it changes and it still changes like every year. I always learn new things from it. But yeah, it changed my life for the better. And I never thought that I would get this far. Like I never was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Olympia. Oh, I'm gonna be top five. Like I never saw that back then until I started just progressing each year.
Right, right. So at this point, you started competing. When did you get your pro card?
I got my pro card in 2013 at in Miami at Nationals.
Okay, so you get your pro card there. How long have you been competing since your pro card now? Oh well, 2013. So I guess it'll be about 5 years or so, 6 years now that you've
Yep.
been
Yep.
competing. Okay,
Yep. Going
and
on
this is
6.
okay, and this is you said this is gonna be your third Olympia.
Yeah, third Olympia. Uh-huh.
Okay, so um, like how do you see yourself like in this Olympia? I know, I mean, obviously everybody wants to win the show. That's otherwise you wouldn't be pushing yourself to those levels. But what would you consider like a win, a takeaway from this Olympia?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we all compete to win, but the Olympia is a little bit different because you kind of like know where you stand. You know what I mean? It's one of
Sure.
those sports where, like, I think it's crazy when I hear people be like, I'm gonna win or whatever. Like, I just think that's
Yeah.
so crazy because there's like unspoken guidelines, not like guidelines, like it's definitely going to so and so. It's not like that. It's just you pretty much know where you stand. I feel like it's not like anyone can just train for the Olympia and like win. Even if you do it a couple of years, like even if you're placing in the top 5, I feel like it's just never it's nothing that can be like determined. It's like always either between one or two people. But what a win for me would be 100% a top 5 again. But I would like, to me, the ultimate goal would to be like in a top 3 finish. Like that to me is like, I mean, I was 5th last year. So I feel like even if I got 4th this year, I would be happy, but ultimately, like at some point, I would love to be in the top 3.
Right. And like in the mix for that. So on the first call out, how many people do they look at you generally? Just
I'm trying to remember. I feel like sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6. Last year it was crazy. Like I didn't even get called out in the first call out, which was like at first it was gut wrenching. And then they pulled, the top 3 off because usually that's what they do. They'll call the call out first. So it could be anywhere from 5 or 6, and then they'll pull the top 3 out and like that they know that are top 3. And then they'll call more girls out. So when you get called out and they pull 3 out, you still have a shot at that top 5, right? So that's what ended up happening to me. So that's kind of like, you just never know. Sometimes they do some crazy stuff. But to
right.
answer your question, it's usually 5 or 6 girls.
Okay. Okay. So basically, like progress, anything, every time you want to come back better placed, So, what you got fifth the year you get last year. Well,
Mhm.
prior to that, what did you place?
My first year, I got 8th place.
Eighth place. So you moved up 3 spots. That's significant in the year.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, so I did. Okay, so this is 2019. Last year was 2018. 2017, I didn't make it to the Olympia. So 2016 was my first Olympia, got 8th. I tried to get there 2017, didn't make it, came back last year, and then got 5th. So I was like cloud 9. That was like that was huge for
Yeah.
me. Yeah, that was huge.
That's
And
like
I
being
feel like I'm
that's like
like
being not. Go ahead.
no, no, you're good. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that's like being knocked down, then kind of regrouping, and then coming back even better. I mean, that's hard to do in any sport. But I
Ye-
didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no,
What
no,
were you
no.
saying?
Yeah. No, yeah, it definitely like I mean, everything happens for a reason, and the year that I didn't make it, it wasn't devastating because I kind of knew I wasn't like my best. Like we just moved to Arizona, and I just being in a new kind of lifestyle, even though it was a very positive environment, living here is like the best thing that could ever happen to me. Working under pro physiques and for pro physiques and being around everybody was the best thing for me. But I just couldn't find like a rhythm for myself. And
Sure.
I wasn't my best. Without going into too much, I just wasn't my best. So I didn't deserve to go that year. And then like that was it. I was like, there's no way I'm not going next year. And, kind of like, that was all. Sometimes we need to fall, to
Right.
rise.
Right.
So yeah.
Sure. Some you do better sometimes when you can get humbled a little bit, and then you can kind of regroup, and bring yourself up. Um, how about so? Oh, I'm sorry, my mind is gone. How about I had a really good question I was going to
Yeah,
ask
right.
you.
You should have wrote your questions down.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I like having like a conversation.
Yeah, no, that's
It's
good.
more, it's more natural.
Yeah.
So how long does it take you to get like ready for an Olympia show? Like when do you start your prep? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So every year has kind of been different. This year we started at 17 weeks out, and it wasn't like you're dieting at 17 weeks out. It was, all right, you're going to clean things up. We're going to get things going, get you on a schedule, get like, I don't have crazy off seasons. So it's not like it's that much of a difference. It's just like, okay, you don't get to kind of eat whatever you kind of need to eat all. You need each structurally, you need to have a purpose and an intention every single day, not just wing it, kind of like that. So it's still like you're kind of still in your improvement off season around that time, but you're just being very strategic and prepared a little bit farther out, and it gives you time to like work out the kinks. And I think even before I turned pro, like that's always what I did, and it was always like the best case scenario starting that far out.
Yeah. Do you like when do you start? You said 17 weeks. You don't start dieting yet. Like when do you start? Okay, I'm really like limiting my myself. When do you start bringing your nutrition down, your carbs, so forth?
Yeah. Well, because we started that far out, I think it started, I want to look back and say, I think we started pulling food down around like 12, 11 weeks out, which is when a lot of people start their preps, is
No.
around 12 weeks out,
So
you know?
so you so then I mean logic would dictate that you get lean, much earlier, I would imagine, than like most people, right? Correct?
That
Like
was
you
the,
commit. Go ahead.
yes. So that was the goal. That was the goal for this prep, is to get leaner sooner and ease my way in
Hmm.
to the Olympia, and like almost like go hard sooner and then start to pull back, even though I feel like we're not really pulling back. I'm just getting like higher carb days, which wouldn't have happened before. I wouldn't have done this. So it's allowed me to kind of play with food a little bit, if you will.
I see. So in situations where you don't have as much time, you just wouldn't have that kind of higher carb, day scenario. You would just be strict all the way through, all the way to the end. Is that
Most of the time, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that this scenario is much better for you as far as like your mental feel and just emotionally and all that, because once you get to those low carbs, if you can't have something to feel a little better, that might get rough there towards the end, right?
Yeah, and I still like I still have those days, but at least I know that coming up, like today was a high carb day. So like the past 3 days were kind of rough. And it's like it's not like an all day kind of rough, but it's like, oh, and your mind kind of goes crazy a little bit.
Hmm.
You're like, oh my gosh, am I gonna make it? Like I really tired, or I'm really hungry, and like you have that high carb day to look forward. You're like, if I can just get through, I'll be fine. And it's kind of like it's like time slows down a little bit. Things are a little bit harder. Your normal everyday tasks are a little bit more challenging,
Sure.
but then you're like, okay, but I get that high carb day, and I always feel so much better because my carbs get really low.
Like, what are we talking? Like, what do
So
you mean by low?
like anyone that listens to this, like probably should not like judge me for this, because everybody has different preps, right? Like
Sure.
everybody does things differently. And so my carbs, like for the past few weeks, have been 45 grams
A day?
a day.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost nothing. Do
It's
you?
nothing. And my fats are low too. So it's like both are very low.
Yeah. Why do you keep your fats low?
Um, so it's not that I kept them low. Like we kind of manipulate, and it's kind of like it's crazy because we can talk about like, oh, what am I doing right now?
Sure.
Things changed weekly. So this is just something we started about 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago was 4 weeks out. So we started doing low carb, low fat, really, really high protein just to see how my body responded. And it like tightened up like tremendously, even though I've been tightening up. But like prior to that, I was doing moderate carb, moderate fat. Prior to that week before, I was doing really high fat, like 70 grams of fat, really low carb. It's like changed every week. We are just kind of experimenting. And that was like the beauty of starting out that far. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it was kind of nice because I would be low carb and then I would have high fats. It just, we just played with it, you know, and it wasn't like anything, I didn't hurt anything, and everything was responding the way that I needed it to. So it wasn't, we just really just tried, we just tried new stuff. So
Okay. Do you feel like at this point, like this time last year, you feel you're better?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. That's, I mean,
100%.
well, that's saying a lot. You know, you
Yeah.
placed fifth. That's last year, so that's saying a lot.
Yeah. And I think
Go
too,
ahead.
like, I think like, so my husband, he's the one that coaches me.
Hmm.
We talk about like that, you know, I was fifth, so I don't really have any pressure. Well, pressure from like outside, like social media or like other, you know, all like the other organizations, not organizations, but other people that like, you know, like maybe like,
Sure.
you know, top three might have the pressure or whatever. Well,
Right.
I put the pressure on myself. So to me, I'm like, if I fall out of that top five, that's a fail for me. It's not failing, but it's a fail for me.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so this year, the lineup is nasty. Like, I'm telling you, there's like I don't feel guaranteed about anything. Like I might not make top five because there are so many girls that look incredible. Like it could go to any, like first, second, and third are gonna be so and so and so and so, right? Like that's kind of
Right.
like, you know, but you know, fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, that can go to like anybody if everybody shows up how they've all been showing up year round. And I think that's kind of why I've been like, you know what, I've always believed in conditioning, and like no matter what, if you come in conditioned, never have I really seen a girl been come in too conditioned. So that's kind of like my husband and I's thing is like we come in really conditioned, like
Right.
and be, you know, because sometimes girls try to chase that fullness, like let me be, I want to be really full and big, and sometimes what ends up happening is it backfires because they might not have the amount of muscle. You have to have muscles. You have to have muscle to come in full, right? Or you just
Right.
look soft. Yeah.
Right. You can't fill out something you don't have. Yeah.
Or you can't fill out body fat if you still have a lot of
Right.
body fat,
Right.
right? Or if you're not lean enough, like you can't fill out properly if you're not lean enough. So we just chase like that. And so I want to be like undeniably conditioned, because if I do, and then if I don't get what I want, I know I can look and be like, I came in like way better than last year. And like, that's all I can ask for, you know?
Yeah. You probably have a better eye for like the female side than me, but it doesn't seem like with a lot of men, they tend to, a lot of times you don't know, like one show they'll be off, another show they won't be,
Yeah.
they'll be perfect. With women, especially in the Olympia level, when I was watching it last year, it seems like that doesn't happen as often. It seems like most of the girls come in pretty good condition, if not great, all the time. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like nobody is playing. Like, nobody is taking this lightly, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
every girl that's there, because there's only, I don't know, I feel like it's only like 28, 29. It's not even 30 girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I,
Somebody said 25, but that might have been for a
no, that
different
could be
division.
right. It's somewhere around that number, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Every single one of those girls like deserves to be there undeniably. And they all, you know, everyone except for the top, or except for three of them won a show. And then the three that are getting there are that got on like a wild card look awesome too. So it's like everybody's showing up. Like that's why I know that it's like you just have to be your best and do everything that you need to do to look what your expectations are for yourself, because then everything else is up to God and the judges. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I was talking to, and I don't know if you know who she is, but Nicole Zenobia Graham, and
Yeah,
she's
I
she
know that name.
Yeah, so I recorded with her last week, and I just actually put it up today, and she said that her weight, she's going to be in the Olympia with you in figure, and her weight fluctuates significantly from like off season to on season. What about like you? Do you have a significant fluctuation in weight, or not really? You kind of stay at the same weight all the way through.
So crazy enough, like I pretty much stay around the same. Like last week was my biggest drop. I pretty much from the start of my 17 weeks out to like last week, I'd only lost a total of 5 pounds. But my body fat percentage is, I don't know what it is, but I know that I'm lean, 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 lean. But I pretty
Sure.
much stay around the same. Like right now, I weigh 138, and it's the most that I've weighed. I think maybe like 1 or 2 pounds more than last year. But I've pretty much stayed like at 140 this entire prep, which is good. Like I wanted to be bigger. I feel like I put on a good, 3 pounds of muscle because I hadn't competed since the Arnold. So I had a good
Right.
amount of time to really put on some size.
So you're 138. What height are you?
5'6".
5'6". So you're a little taller than this. A lot of the ones I've been talking to are like 5'4", 5'5". So you're a little bit taller than that. So
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
put you have room to put that weight on.
yeah. I feel like I do, but I feel
Yeah,
like the girls that are shorter look freaking awesome too with the
hmm
amount of muscle. They almost sometimes look bigger.
sure, sure.
Sometimes.
Well, that's that way with men for sure.
Yeah,
Like if you're on the shorter side, you look a lot wider, a lot bigger. The harder to
yeah,
fill out a taller guy. So qualifying, are they changing the rule for qualifications for figure, or do you still have to win? You win a show, correct, to qualify for the Olympia?
yeah. So thank God they didn't change us. You all you have to do is win a show,
Okay.
and place top five at the Olympia to qualify for next year's Olympia. So
Okay.
if you place top
So
five, you don't have to requalify.
okay, so you didn't have to requalify.
No, no.
So what are your plans at this point? Let's say you get what you want, you get your top five wherever that's going to
Yeah,
be. Um,
yeah.
how many shows are you looking to do next year? Now that you don't have to do any
Sure.
to.
I will probably do the same thing that I did this year because I felt like it gave my body some rest because up until this last year, I was always doing 4 or 5 shows a year. Um, so I honestly would do the Arnold if they invite me back. And I won't do Arnold Australia again, so that'll be out, just Arnold Ohio, and then not do anything again till the Olympia.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I would like, it's on my list to like do the New York Pro, and I've done the Pittsburgh Pro before, but I'd like to go do one of those bigger shows and win. I've always won, like, when I got to the Olympia last year, I won the Sacramento show, and then or both Sacramento shows I won each time. But I would like to win like a top tier show.
mhm.
So I don't know, but
well, I'm sure even if you don't need to, if you did that, that would bring you some momentum going into the Olympia.
yeah, we look at it that way. But then we also look at it like, if you don't do well, will it
Right.
demotivate you? And it's
Sure.
so it's like you
Sure.
never,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like you can look at it either way, but I don't know. We'll see. I just always want to do the bigger shows. I mean, I always want to do the Arnold, so that kind of takes up some time, but I would like just to hop in and do like the New York Pro or Chicago or Pittsburgh again. So I don't know though. We'll see.
Yeah. So if you do the Arnold, are you like is who usually does the Arnold? Sid usually does the Arnold, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
Sid will do the Arnold. Let's see. All the top five last year from the Olympia did the Arnold.
Did the Arnold.
Yeah, did the Arnold. And then I didn't get. I got eighth at the Arnold. I was devastated. I was
I
pretty
see.
devastated. That was like really heartbreaking. That started my year off like pretty rough. I know that's not what we're talking about today, but like that's kind of like what
Oh
gave me.
no, I mean we can talk about
Yeah.
anything. a lot of this is also like what motivates you, what you've overcome, and I mean this
Yeah.
would go right in line with that.
Yeah. So I like when I finished the Olympia, and I was freaking motivated. And I was like, all right. I was like, it's on. I'm gonna do the Arnold. I'd love to get top 5 at the Arnold. You know, that's like another awesome accolade. And um, I worked my like I stayed lean. Like I didn't really gain any weight. Like I didn't stay lean like stage lean, obviously, but I just
Right.
really kept myself in check. I trained my butt off. I really didn't focus on putting on any size, just because like the feedback I got was like, oh, wider back, um, bigger quad. But like for some reason, I just was thinking like, I don't know why. Just it's not that much time from the Olympia to the Arnold. Like as far
Hmm.
as off season, you pretty much have October, November, and then mid December is 12 weeks out. So
Right.
it's 10 weeks in between Olympia and you're 12 weeks out from the Arnold. So I was like, well, it's not really that much time. I'm not trying to get like big or anything. So let me just keep it going and keep some fluidity, going in my schedule. And then yeah, and then I ended up getting eighth. They said I needed to be like same thing, a little bit tighter, wider back, even though my back grew significantly, even though I wasn't focusing on that tremendously, it grew significantly compared to the Olympia, and they were like bigger quad. But I know that there was places I could have been better in my prep. I know mentally, like there could have, like with diet, like sometimes I'm not perfect.
Yeah. No,
So,
I understand that.
and that's just a truth for me. Like I can't sit here and not, or sit here and like be like, I'm perfect with my diet. I'm OCD. This year I have been like night and day difference. But I look back at the Arnold and I look at that and I'm like, okay, head judge told me I could have been a little bit tighter. And then I look at my faults, at like where I could have been better. And I'm like, okay, then I deserved what I got. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I can only look at it like that and use that as, a learning lesson to move forward and to be better.
Did originally you feel like you were overlooked, and then later you came back thinking that I'll just look at it as a way to motivate me in positive way.
No, I don't think I was overlooked. I still don't think I felt like it could have been anybody's. I felt like out of those three that got like, or out of fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, I felt like out of all of us, it could have gone like either way.
Sure.
And it just wasn't my day that day. But I'm still
Sure.
gonna take responsibility and been like, I could have been better.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, like when you look at the men's divisions, sometimes you would look at the top two guys and you'd be like, well, what are the judges looking at? Because I mean, there's not that much of a difference, if any. And then with women, I feel like it's even more like that. So once
Yeah.
you get to the placings that are close to each other, especially at the top, it's. I mean, you're grasping at straws really about differences. I mean, a lot of them look very, very similar. If everybody's in good condition, and that's why they're at the top. So
Yeah. And yeah, that's so true. But I think what I got stuck on was I was so like, if you go back and look at how I looked at the Arnold and how I looked at the Olympia, I look better than I did at the Olympia, in my opinion. But that does not matter because they don't care about that. They care about what is on stage right then and there. So, but I still had to like think about that too and not be too hard on myself and be like, well, I looked better than I looked at Olympia. But then, and that's what my husband would say, but then I would say, but it still wasn't good enough. You see what I'm saying? Like, not
right.
that I'm not good enough, but I wasn't good enough that day to be in a top 5 placing.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, and I mean that's a healthy way of looking at it. Keeps you, moving forward. So,
Yeah, it does, but it didn't. Like, I definitely was down for like, I
yeah,
was really down. I was down. I was like, man, what's the point? Like, I wasn't at the point of like giving up because that's just not me. Like, that's not what I would do. You're never gonna not see me like because I don't get a placement I think I want or not deserve, but like feel like I could have, you know, made. I'm gonna like just use that to like push myself more. But it definitely made me think about a lot of things and like how I wanted to take this year on and things that I needed to be better. And things that needed to be better was my mental training, like
Sure.
it's your head, it's where your head's at, it's what you're focusing on, it's what you fill your mind with, it's what you fill your soul with, your heart with, like who are you putting yourself around? What are you focusing on? Like, are you doing anything to really strengthen your mind? Or are you like just sitting there scrolling through social media, like letting that
Right.
feed you? Because that's going to leave you feeling really empty. And like, that's what it would do. And social media is like so big these days. And I feel like
Sure.
that's all people do. And like, that's one of the biggest things that I changed this year was I was like, I don't care. Like, yes, I want to build a name for myself and build a brand, but that's not going to help me be a better athlete and become like one of the top by putting myself out there so much. So I kind of like took a step back and just stopped like I don't look at hardly anything anymore, and it has changed
Sure.
so much for me. Like I read more books, I'm listening to honestly, I listen to podcasts, I
Right.
listen to like real motivational things that are going to feed my brain and help me become stronger. Like though social media like I feel like makes people become weak if you let
Sure.
it.
Sure. Well,
So
I mean,
that's been, yeah.
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's it.
I was gonna say, yeah, mindless, and I know from my own, experience, and I don't compete or anything like that, but just from, living and itself, like if I get in a habit or in a cycle of constantly looking at social media, looking online, you can waste so much time on like mindless, just scrolling when you could be doing a lot more with with your time to, in your case, strengthening your mind for the Olympia or Arnold or other training or nutrition and other aspects of your life. So
Yeah, no, that's it was a big shift in a lot of that for me to be like more confident too, because when you're paying attention to other things or other people, like it takes the focus off of what you need to work on and you're focusing on what they have and you don't, and then it kind of zaps you and drains your energy for what you, because then you're like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, and then you
yeah,
just kind of play a victim, you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It sounds like you got to figure it out. A lot of people are still, on the road to figuring that out. So
Yeah, no, I am 39 and I only have probably like 3 to 4 more years left of me, and I'm gonna try to keep climbing as high as I can go, and like
sure,
I gotta fix that stuff now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I gotta get rid of the things that are not helping me grow right now, because I don't have a lot of time. I feel like I'm at my peak. I can't drop. I gotta keep going. I gotta
right,
keep
right.
staying where I'm at. So.
Right, absolutely. What about like your training? How's your training going? We talked about diet, nutrition. How like what are your splits looking at? Are you a heavy lifter? Do you do more volume?
Yeah. So this year I decided I was like, I used to like to do a lot of accessory work, but I like to lift heavy too. But this year I was like really focused on, when I say it almost every year, but this year I really focused on progressively overloading and just really lifting heavy. I enjoy lifting heavy. I just do. I don't like so I lift heavy but also a lot of volume. So
Right.
I'm doing like a lot of sets and heavy, but not like a lot of reps. I kind of
Sure.
kept my rep range in that 10, 8, 6,
Right.
like numbers. And my sets for my legs are like 5 sets, 6 sets. All my back sets are like 4 sets. Shoulders are 4 sets. I basically do a quad day. So like quads, like I'll do quads on Sunday, and then I'll do back on Monday, shoulders on Tuesday, then I'll hit hamstrings, glutes on Wednesday, then I'll hit back again on Thursday, shoulders again on Friday. And it's one of those days, like Saturday or Friday is one of the days that I would have off. And
Hmm.
then Sunday, just hit it back up again. So shoulders twice, back twice, hams, quads, and then one chest day. I train chest and arms too,
So
as everyone should.
do you feel like you recover? A lot of people, from like what I've been listening to and talking to people, advised not to do two a week for of a body part for recovery purposes. You feel like you still recover well after doing the same body part twice a week?
Yeah, I mean, I could like, and it's not like, so I don't like, if I'm doing back twice, shoulders twice, I'm not hammering them both twice a week.
I see.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I'm not,
yeah,
if I
yeah.
do, yeah. So I probably could use an extra rest day, but I don't, my mind doesn't work like that. Like I'm
Sure,
like, no, I gotta go. But
sure.
yeah, I could be better with resting. I 100%
Yeah.
could. I actually took my very first deload week off right before I started. I never done that before. I actually went and got my hormones tested just to make sure everything was good. And it wasn't like I had no testosterone, I had no estrogen, or I had low estrogen, low progesterone. So, I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure my body was working properly. And one of the things that the specialist said, he was like, you probably should take a week off and like a whole week. And I didn't flinch. I was like, I'm down. Like I'll take a whole week off. I didn't do cardio, I didn't train, and I felt so much better. So I'm definitely going to start incorporating a deload week in probably like every, 12 weeks, 12, 16 weeks, because I don't think we realize, like, well, I definitely don't until he pointed it out, how much we hammer our bodies. Like, because you just get to a point where you're like, this is all I know. This is what I do. This is how I'm built. This is how I do it. I've always been like this. I've always trained 6 days, 7 days. Sometimes I don't take a day off, in 2 weeks. So because I'm like, I don't really feel like I need it, but I also do things to recover. So, I take ice baths twice a week. I take salt baths probably, not as often as my ice baths, but I take ice baths. I'm doing yoga. I go get sports therapy. So I'm definitely still getting body work done and doing recovery protocols to make sure my body rests.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That those ice baths I hear are amazing. I haven't gotten into them yet, but I really want to. I've been doing the sauna a lot lately, but the ice baths, they say, is really good to build up your like. There's a certain protein enzymes in your body that build up by cold shock therapy, which is essentially the ice bath. So that's really helpful. But that the mentality that you're talking about always going, it seems like that's the mentality of champions. So while having a rest day here and there might be beneficial for you, the mentality that you have is the kind of mentality that most champions in most sports have. So it's that's nothing to be unhappy about for sure.
yeah, no, yeah, I like that. And I appreciate you saying that, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel guilty, but I think that that's like why I love like this sport, is because I love the work. And I think most of us that like are in the top, or that are just, top level pros, like most of us really enjoy the work, or we wouldn't be doing it, you know.
Sure.
It's, I also coach, a few people, and it's hard because some of them like don't really like the work, and I'm like, man, then this is not the sport for you, because this is all work. It's
Right.
like, if you don't love it, you need to learn to love it if you want to be sustainable in this sport. If you want to be like a long term out, you need to learn to love it, because it doesn't you get strong. It doesn't get easier. You definitely get better and you get stronger, but it's the grind constantly, over and
Right.
over and over and over and over and over again. And so I think that's why I've been able to compete for so long, 14, going on my 15th year, is because that's kind of like what keeps me going. It's not my purpose. I have more purpose in my life than competing, but it's led me to other opportunities in finding my purpose and what I want to do and what kind of legacy I want to leave on the world. But it's the work ethic, because if you can work hard at this sport, like you can pretty much do almost anything. Well, I'm not going to say almost anything, because there's a lot harder things out there that people do. But
Sure.
you're definitely on that track of like, hey, if you can do this, you can attempt other things that are challenging as well.
Right. Again, we go back to mentality. I'll give you an example. So I started wrestling, young, and then started wrestling in high school. And even though I don't, wrestle anymore, that grinding, that tough, that, you know, just nose to the grindstone mentality that I got from that sport, I kind of carried it to all aspects of my life. I hear I never did gymnastics, but I hear gymnastics is also very similar to that, very, very tough, grinding. So, and
Yeah.
you know, the fitness world is like that too, but it helps you, you know, it helps you in other, you know, other parts of your life as well. You carry that over.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I try to tell people who are just starting out in this is like, hey, look, you might want to start this out just because you want to do this show, but look, it's going to help you in all these other areas. So that's what you need to think about too. Like, like it's not just about this show, it's about like really changing your life and really changing your mentality about achieving things and really dedicating yourself to something and committing and really striving at whatever it is that you need to do because it does help you helps you become a better whatever it is that you are, a wife, a husband, a daughter, whatever, employee.
Right.
You just have a lot more discipline and it builds character and integrity. So
Mhm. Sure.
it
What
can, I mean, it can also go the other way and you can become a complete jerk. So
of course. I mean, we've seen both, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah. But so along with that, you know, you're working with your husband there in Arizona. So can you kind of tell me like what you guys do, or tell the audience? And yeah, I know you train, but is there some other things?
Yeah, no, right now I literally just personal train in the studio. So do I have one-on-one clients? I run a boot camp with Alex Ross and then Brina Martinez, both the bikini Olympians.
Sure.
And then I do online coaching and then I'll do online posing. But I kind of like I'm just doing this right now while I'm competing because I like it. I like it. I go through my moments, but right now I'm falling back in love with it again. With like really falling in love with personal training again because I have some awesome clients and but it's hard because it's hard working with people who even if they're not competitors, just lifestyle clients because it's like what it takes to get to what you're doing. So it's when people come to you and they want to change but then they don't. That's hard. It's just a hard business, right? Because we
Sure.
understand what it takes. So you have to like dig stuff out of people, but
Sure.
it's entertaining. It's hardly ever boring. um you get to make your own schedule. I'm around awesome people all the time. And then online's pretty cool too, because that's like, I make my own schedule. I have and it
Right.
works because of my training schedule. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I've been doing for the past 3 or 4 years. And I'll probably keep doing this, probably until I'm done competing. And then right now I'm starting to look at though, like options for when competing is over, because 3 to 4 years is going to fly by and I don't want to be like, what do I do now? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Do
just
you
trying to process that stuff right now too.
do you have your eye on something that you want to do, you know, post competition, or not you're just kind of feeling things out?
Yeah, I mean, I keep wanting to go back to school. Like not go back. Like I want to possibly just go to esthetician school because that can go
Mhm.
hand in hand with training. I think
Sure.
I'll always be a personal trainer. Like I'll always train, but I'll be very selective. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
I'll be very selective with who I train. My husband is a great coach and he's found his calling. Like he loves coaching competitors. I'm not going to say I love it because like I said, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard,
Yeah.
but that's his thing. So I'm sure that I'll always be like his right hand person and I'll do it a little bit. But I think I'm just right now, it's crazy to say like at 39, like I feel like I'm really just now finding like myself because I don't want to go through the next years of my life like not being passionate about something because right now bodybuilding has been my passion. And so when bodybuilding is done, I need to have something else that's my passion, you
Yeah.
know?
To fill that void. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just gonna keep like I'll pray about it and make sure I'm, on the right path and doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want to just jump into something, but yeah. And
Sure. Sure.
parts of me thinks I don't want to have anything to do with fitness when I'm done. I think about that too, because I don't want to be like I don't want to be like a washed up competitor. Like, I don't know, like still trying to hang out. Like, I just don't want to, I honestly feel like when I'm done, I feel like I'm going to be done. You know, I'm going to
Yeah,
be
yeah. You
out
kind
of
of
the
leave.
scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put it behind you. Start a new chapter. You don't want to be that kid that comes back to the high school after he graduates.
Yeah. I like that's exact. I mean, no offense to like people that do that, but just personally, like I think fitness. But look, like I think I'll always be in some kind of fitness, but I don't necessarily think it's always going to be into bodybuilding, because people forget like it's not. There's not just bodybuilding out there. Like there's all these other fitness worlds, and I would
Sure.
like to try something, something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Well, and
necessarily
there's
compete, not necessarily be a competitor in something else, but just do something else.
right. Well, there's a lot of different niches. I mean, you just have to figure out what you want to do and how you want to get about, getting into it. But I mean, there's options out there for sure.
Yeah.
So, so what, as far as like your clients, what percentage are lifestyle as opposed to like competitors?
I would probably say, I have probably like it's like 75% lifestyle to 25% competitors.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you enjoy lifestyle more?
I go back and forth.
Okay.
When
Yeah.
it's like in the middle of competition season, I'm like, I'd rather have more lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's like
Right. Right.
whatever is like driving you crazy is the thing that I don't want to be doing right then. So I like them both. They have both pros and cons. You know what I mean? Lifestyle is a little bit more laid back. Competition is not, you have to ride your people and you have to be more on top of them. And because you have expectations for your competition clients. So it kind of goes back and forth. It's never I'm 100% love competition. I 100% just love lifestyle. It's
Right.
different.
Well, some of the like sometimes I'll get, people to, hey, can I, because they know I work out and I train and they're
Yeah.
like, hey, can you help me out? Like give me some advice. I'll write up a diet for them or I'll tell them, certain things and I could see their face completely change from like
Yeah.
excited to like I'm not doing this.
No,
And
totally. It's like I feel like I don't know what people like think that you're gonna do for them. Like wave a magic wand. I don't know. Like
uh-huh.
it's never what they expect it to be, right? Yeah. See,
Sure. Sure.
that's what I find really annoying. And I think sometimes like that's what ends up happening because I've been in this for so long. You hear those same questions over and over and over again, and I kind of get like annoyed and frustrated. And if you're in this industry, like, and that's what you do, you kind of can't get that way. So I have to kind of like take a step back and be like, all right, this is someone that's never done it before. You have to talk to them just like you would talk to about it if it was your first time talking about it. Cause but it's because people can suck sometimes and they're like, they say they want to do something and then you're like, okay, I'm going to help you. And then they don't do it because they have to
Right.
work a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a few months ago, I interviewed Trevor Koretzin, who's a Canadian guy, and he does he's a natural bodybuilder, and he does like chemical engineering for supplement companies to makes them taste better and so forth. And we were talking about how like only 10, I think he said 10% of the like national population do the bare minimum of exercise, which is like only like equivalent to like 30 minutes of walking.
Yes.
Even less than that go to the gym, and then and then you're talking about anybody who actually does something at the gym and improves themselves. That's, I mean, it's almost, the percentage is so small, it's probably like less than 1%. So
Yeah.
you
I
know
mean, I truly, I believe that. That is like, that really puts it into perspective because it's true. And all you got to do is go to a gym and look. All you got to do
right,
is go to a gym and look.
right. Yeah, a lot of I've been seeing. So you know I like going to different gyms, but I've been kind of going to the same gym for several years, and I've been seeing the same people at that gym for as long as I've been going with no changes to their
Yeah.
build. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like what are you not doing?
Yeah.
Obviously I don't come up and say that to him, but I'm asking myself that in my head. And then I start wondering what would be like if I was in their position, right? And I was going to the gym, but nothing was changing, like nothing. what would be my motivation to even show up, at the gym? I think I
Yeah.
would just lose motivation. I think I wouldn't come,
And I
or
think that,
yeah.
yeah, I
Go
think
ahead.
that's what happens. And I think, but then I think too, though, like, so then I try to be like, all right, let me give people the benefit of the doubt. Some people just go because they check it off their list for the day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Right.
they're like, okay, it makes me feel better. I'm good. I don't really care how I look. I just know that I need to get in,
Sure.
get my fix, like get my 30-minute whatever and whatever. It's the people that are like, why aren't things changing? And I'm like, those are the people that are complaining that things aren't changing are the ones that you're like, get out of my face.
Right, right, exactly. Well, you have to change, if what you're doing isn't changing, like well, producing the change that you want in yourself, then you have to like change your approach. I mean, because obviously your approach is flawed, so
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So we started kind of talking about training. I know you said you're giving yourself a few years and then you're probably going to retire from the sport. Are you ever going to go up like in a to oh, I'm sorry, my mind's going blank. A female physique.
No, 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 no.
You're never gonna try your fortune out with that level of competition there.
No, I am figure for the rest of my life. Yeah,
Gotcha,
this
gotcha.
is it.
Okay. I always ask people, just curious. I talked to a young girl. She's 18 years old. She just her first Olympian bikini, and she's getting bigger. And I asked her, like, are you thinking about going to figure? And she said a lot of people ask her that. So, but I know that you're like towards the end of your career, so I figured you probably wouldn't try to switch divisions.
No, no, I feel like no, because like if I would switch to like women's physique, that means that's a lot more work. You know what I mean? A
Sure,
lot
sure.
more, putting on a lot more muscle, doing a lot more of everything that I
Right,
don't.
right, right.
It's just
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
No, I feel I'm gonna bow out in my division.
yeah. Well,
So
hopefully, I mean, you never know what would happen. Hopefully, you'll bow out with either an Arnold victory or an Olympia victory. Who knows? But what's so if someone does want to reach you for like any kind of training, consultation, anything like that, can you kind of put it out on the air? Like, what's the best way to reach you?
yeah, the best way to reach me would be to my email. It's carly.fitstrong@gmail.com. So CARLY.fitstrong, spelled just like it is, FITSTRONG @gmail.com. I'm on top of my emails every day. So yeah, you can just shoot me an email and yeah, love to hear from people. So
Okay, cool,
yeah.
awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for
Yeah.
for doing this. I know you've had a lot going on, and a lot, with the dieting and everything. It's always difficult to be enthusiastic, but I think you did, incredible. So, again, thanks again, and I'll once this goes up, I'll shoot you an email, let you know. Okay.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. You're easy to talk to. Are you going to be at the Olympia?
I'm not going to be at the Olympia, but me and my wife plan tentatively to be at the Arnold. So
Oh,
maybe I'll see
cool.
you there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely stop by if you're at like meet the greet
Sure.
and greet or whatever. I would love to like just meet you in person. So, but
Yeah,
no, this
awesome.
was fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you take care. Have a good
All
night.
right, you too. Thank you so
All right.
much.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.